Hello students, welcome to class 12 physics class. Today's topic about current density. So in last two videos we discussed about EMF, how battery mechanism, the concept about current and terminal voltage as well as the internal resistance and relation between them. Okay, so today we discuss current density. Density means mass by volume. So current density means how we define current density. It is denoted by small j. Current density at any point inside a conductor is defined as the amount of charge flowing per second. So we know that the charge flowing per second gives us the electric current. So amount of charge flowing per second through a unit area held normal to the direction of the flow of charge at that point. That means area held normally to the direction of the flow of electric charges, and through that area the amount of electric charges flowing per second, or we can say that the electric current flowing through that unit area which is held normally to the direction of the electric current is called current density. Current density. Clear? So if when we see the diagram, then we also understand. It is a vector quantity. We know that electric current is a scalar quantity, but current density, that's why it is mentioned as current density. Charge flowing per second, it gives us a current. So current flows to the conductor through unit area normally held normally. That is called current density. Current density is a vector quantity, and it is a characteristics because at a particular point inside the conductor we measure the current density. That's why it is a property of that point inside the conductor, and it is denoted by small j. So mathematically we can write j equals to I by a. I means q by t, charge flowing per second, that is q by t divided by a. So, or we can say that j equals to I by a. So in first figure you see that a area A is held or placed normally in the direction of electric current. So through that area the amount of electric charges flowing per second is called current density. So from that diagram we can write j equals to q into t by a, that is gives us q by t by m by a. The q by t gives us a I, so I by a. But the second figure you see that the area is not perpendicular or the normal to the direction of electric current. It makes some angle with the direction of the electric current. So in that case we use its component. Because we know that the area vector always perpendicular to the surface. In first figure, because area is normal to the direction of electric current, so area vector and the current is the same direction. But in the second figure, the area vector makes one angle theta with the direction of current. So in that case we use which component which is perpendicular or normal to the current direction of current, and that is a cos theta. It is represented by an. So in that case the current density can be written as j equals to I by an. An means a cos theta. So in that expression we can write I equals to j into a cos theta, and we know that the scalar quantity means the dot product of two vector quantity. That's why we say that the current density is a vector quantity. Clear? So a cos theta means dot product, so we can say that I equals to j dot a. Dot product of two vectors gives us the scalar quantity, cross product of two vectors gives us the vector quantity. So current from this expression, once we can conclude that current is a scalar quantity. In this way we can also prove the current is a scalar quantity, because if the cos theta term is there, and cos theta means dot product, and dot product between two vector gives us scalar quantity. So I is a scalar quantity. Clear? Okay, so SI unit, what is the SI unit of current density? So J equals to I by A, ampere per meter square. So SI unit is ampere per meter square. And if we find out the dimension, ampere, that is represented by A, by L square, meter represent the length, that is L square. So A L to the power minus 2. This is the dimension of current density. Clear? So current density we calculate at a particular point inside a conductor. How it is defined as the charge flowing per second through the area, through the unit area which is held normally to the direction of the flow of electric charges, is called current density. It is a vector quantity and it is denoted by small j, that is equals to q by t divided by a, or q by t gives us current, so j equals to I by a. But if the area vector is not in the same direction of a electric current, if it is makes one angle theta with the direction of electric current, in that case we use, or we considered one component of area vector which is the same direction, which directed the same direction of the electric current, and that component is A cos theta, which is represented here in the diagram by AN. And from that concept, J equals to, we get I by A cos theta. So I equals to, we can write J A cos theta. So cos theta means dot product. So we can write I equals to J dot A. So from here, once we also prove that I, that is electric current, is a scalar quantity, because the dot product of two vector gives us the scalar quantity. And the SI unit of current density is ampere per meter square, and density is A L to the power minus 2. Clear? Okay. Next, if that is a particular area is given, if the current through a particular surface, there is a very large surface is there, total surface is there, particular surface in a conductor, then what we can write? So in that surface, if we if you remember the Gauss law, we also considered a small surface element ds. After that we integrate this, so we get the total surface integration. So in that case also, here also, when we find out the current to a particular or the large surface, so first of all we consider a small area element ds, and through that area element how much or how many electric flux or electric field lines or electric charges flows per second, that is gives us the electric density. And that one is, we can write I equals to integration means surface integration of j dot ds. ds is a very small area element, so if we integrate the ds we get the total surfaces, that is for a particular surface S or for a conductor. Clear? Okay. Now some terms related to this current density and current. We also know this term because in class 10 we also study the conductance we not study, but conductivity, resistivity, Ohm's law we also study. So what do you mean by conductance? Conductance is a reciprocal of resistance. Conductance is reciprocal of resistance. Resistance which resists the flow of electric current. So its reciprocal means how much it will conduct the electric charges inside the conductor. So that's why the conductance of a conductor is the reciprocal of its resistance, and it is denoted by capital G. Capital G equals to 1 by R. So what will be the unit? R, the resistance unit is ohm. So the resistance of unit of conductance is ohm inverse, or it can be written as mho. Or another one example, because the scientist named Simon Ohm, George Simon Ohm discovered this one. That's why it's another one unit is Simon. It is denoted by capital S. Clear? So conductance is the reciprocal of its resistance. Conductivity. So resistance reciprocal is conductance. So resistivity reciprocal is conductivity. So the reciprocal of resistivity of a material is called its conductivity, and conductivity is denoted by sigma. Sigma equals to 1 by rho. Rho gives us the resistivity. If from Ohm's law we also get this expression, that factors, the length, area, when we combine that factors we get R equals to rho into L by A, and that rho is called resistivity. So the reciprocal of resistivity is called conductivity. Its SI unit ohm inverse meter inverse, because the resistivity unit is ohm meter. So 1 by ohm meter, that means ohm inverse meter inverse, or mho inverse meter inverse, or Simon meter to the power minus 1. Any one you can write. Clear? Now just once we revise the Ohm's law, because in class 10, because in middle class 11 also there somebody also forgot that Ohm's law. What is Ohm's law? Many of them have forgot. So just once we revise the Ohm's law and the factors on which the resistance depends. Okay. So what is Ohm's law? Ohm's law gives us the relationship between the electric current and the potential difference. Relationship between electric current and the potential difference. And it states that the current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference applied across its ends, provided temperature and other physical conditions remains unchanged or remains constant. If you not write this last line, it is incomplete statement. Ohm's law. So current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference between across the two ends of a conductor, provided temperature and other physical conditions remains constant or unchanged. So mathematically we can write V proportional to I, V equals to I into R, and R is the proportionality constant, and this R is called electrical resistance, or it is called resistance. Resistance is resists the flow of electric current, opposes the motion of an electric charge. Okay, and the value of R does not depends upon V and I. Its value depends upon length of a conductor, nature of the conductor, and the area of cross section of the conductor and other physical conditions, mainly that is temperature. And how it is depend? If length is increases, resistance also increases. If length is decreases, resistance also decreases. So resistance is directly proportional to the length of the conductor. Area of cross section. If area of cross section is increases, resistance decreases. If area of cross section decreases, resistance increases. So it is inversely proportional to the resistance. Resistance is inversely proportional to the area of cross section. That's why for this reason, if you have a thin wire and a thick wire, which has a resistance is more? Which wire has a resistance more? Yes, those area is less. Length, if length same but the area is different, material same, temperature also constant, length, but area of cross section is different. So if area of cross section increases, resistance decreases. So thick wire has less resistance, thin wire has greater resistance. If the length of the two wire is same, material also same, temperature is constant. And how temperature how it's depends upon the temperature. Temperature, if the temperature is increases, what happen? If temperature is increases, what happen? You know what happen inside the conductor when temperature is increases? As we know that the temperature increases, if the temperature is increases, the resistance decreases. Resistance increases. It is directly proportional to the temperature. If temperature is increases, resistance also increases. But why? Why the resistance is increases? As the temperature of a conductor increases, the collision because inside the conductor many atoms are there, many electrons are there, free electrons are there. So when the temperature of a conductor increases, the collision between the electrons increases. Also, due to increase in temperature, the vibration, the atoms inside the conductor, that atoms start vibrating in their own places. So when the temperature increases, the collision between the electrons increases, and due to the increase in temperature, the vibration of the atoms also increases. So the collisions of the electrons with atoms also increases. First, the electron collisions is there, but when the atoms also vibrate up and down in their own position, so it blocks the path of the electrons. In which way they will flow, it blocks, and due to that, the collision is happening between the electron and the atoms. And due to these reasons, the electrons face more resistance to move. If the collision between atoms and electrons is more, or when it started the collision, the electrons face more problem, facing many problem to move from one point to another point. Or we can say that the resistance of a material is increases, and because of this the heat is generated. Clear? So temperature is directly proportional to the resistance. If temperature is increases, the resistance also increases. If temperature decreases, resistance also decreases. And why it is happening? Already we explained. Because of the two things. One is the collision between electrons and electrons also increases, and because of the vibration of atoms also increases. Due to that, the collision between electron and atoms also increases. Because of that, the electrons facing more problems, much problem, or it more resist to move from one point to another point. And we can say that when it try to move but it not move from one point to another point, that means this atoms, this collision block their paths, or we can say that it is the resistance of a material. A resistance of a material is increases. Understood? And another one factor is nature of the material. Nature of the material, that is the intrinsic property of the material, and it is directly proportional to the resistance of the earth. It is the intrinsic property, not the extrinsic property. Understood? These are the factors on which resistance of a conductor depends. So from that, using that concept, the resistance is directly proportional to length, resistance is inversely proportional to the area of cross section. So if we combine these two concepts, we get R proportional to L by A, or R equals to rho L by A. This rho is called proportionality constant, and it is called resistivity. It is called resistivity. So its unit, SI unit, is ohm meter. So we can say that resistivity equals to R into A by L. R into A by L. Okay. So if we consider L equals to 1 meter and A equals to 1 meter square, for unit length and unit area of cross section, the resistance of a conductor is equal to the resistivity of a conductor. R equals to rho. R equals to rho. Understood? Okay, that means high resistivity, poor conductor, low resistivity, high conductor. High resistivity. So how we define the electrical resistivity? It is defined as the electrical resistance of a wire of unit length and per unit cross sectional area at a specified temperature. At a specified temperature. If temperature is increases or decreases, it also resistivity also changes. Otherwise, at a fixed temperature, if you increase the length or area decrease or length is decreased, is nothing happen. Resistivity is fixed. Only if the temperature is changed, only that condition resistivity also change. So we can say that high resistivity poor conductor, because if resistivity is increases, resistance also increases. So conductor does not conduct the electricity easily. That's why poor conductor. If low resistivity, resistance decreases, then it is easily the conductor conduct easily. That's why it's high. It is called high conductor. High resistivity poor conductor, low resistivity high conductor or good conductor. And already we discussed the reciprocal of resistivity is called electrical conductivity. It is denoted by sigma. It is denoted by sigma. Okay. So one difference between resistivity and resistance, the resistivity of a conductor always same and is independent of its length or the area of cross section, but resistance also depends on its length and area of cross section. The resistivity when change, when the temperature is changed, only that condition resistivity only change. And resistivity is the intrinsic property of a material and resistance is the extrinsic property of a conductor. It is an intrinsic property of a material and resistance is the extrinsic property of conductor. Another one is a unit, it is ohm meter and it is ohm, and another one is a definition of resistivity and resistance. For it is practically it is proved that for metals and alloys, the range of the resistivity is 10 to the power minus 8 ohm meter to 10 to the power minus 6 ohm meter. So that means the metals and alloys, mainly the metals, have very low resistivity. But for the insulator, its range is 10 to the power 12 to 10 to the power 17 ohm meter, high resistivity. That's why through insulator, no current or no charges are flows through insulator. So from this, we can say that resistivity of a material depends on nature of the substance. It is conductor, it is metal, insulator, alloys, and another one is a temperature. Temperature and nature of the substance. Only these two factors on which resistivity of a material depends. But resistance depends 5 factors: length, area of cross section, nature of the material, temperature. 5. Four factors, not 5. Okay. Here also I will write the definition of resistivity, and it is the resistance offered by a unit cube of material of a conductor, and we also derive some SI unit of resistivity, that is ohm meter. So from Ohm's law, we talks about the Ohm's law. From that we discuss the resistivity, many things, factors. So from Ohm's law, if we plot a graph between V and I, potential difference and the current, we see that the nature of the graph is straight line. Nature of the graph is straight line passing through the origin. And the slope of V versus I graph, here we also draw one slope. That slope gives us the delta I perpendicular, that line which is parallel to the I axis and which is parallel to the V axis, that gives us the delta V. So del V by del I, it gives us the R resistance, because V equals to IR, so R equals to V by I. So the slope of V versus I gives us resistance, and one practical also be there in your class 12 syllabus. that Ohm's law, that verify Ohm's law, and also calculate resistance per centimeter. Okay, and I think many of also class 10, in class 10 this practical also be there. So when you have some data about potential, that is V from voltmeter and some I from the ammeter, if you plot the graph, you see that actually the theoretically and practically it is not matched. Theoretically we say that it is a straight line passing through the origin, but when you do the practical you see that all points are not coming in a straight line. So in that case, that graph is called average graph. That is the difference between practical concept and the theoretical concept. So we use the average graph of V versus I, and from that graph if we plot the slope del V and del I, we see that, or from that value del V by del I gives us the resistance of that given wire. It is clear? Okay. So resistance is a property of a conductor which opposes the flow of charges through it. If resistance is more, current is less. It's already we know that for a given potential difference. So SI unit of ohm is SI unit is ohm, and it is defined as 1 ohm equals to 1 volt by 1 ampere. That means if inside a conductor, if 1 ampere current is flows, when when the potential difference of 1 volt is applied across its ends, it's called its resistance is only that condition the resistance of that conductor is 1 ohm. Clear? Okay. And this is a symbol of resistance, fixed resistance, and another one is a variable resistance. It is called rheostat. Variable resistance is called rheostat. And here I will draw the practical circuit diagram. This circuit diagram you used in practical class. With respect to this diagram, you connect all the electrical components with the connecting wires. One voltmeter also be there, one ammeter. There's some range also be given inside when you do that practical. Battery and an art, that one wire it is provided by the teacher. You find out the resistance of that given wire. That's why that wire is connected parallelly to the voltmeter and ammeter is connected in series. And this is a circuit diagram for that practical. Understood? So where there is one knob or there is if in we use the rheostat, variable resistance. So if we change that variable resistance, the voltmeter and ammeter gives us some reading, and from that reading if we plot the graph, we get the average graph of Ohm's law, V versus I, the straight line passing through the origin, and from the slope of that graph we also find out the delta R, del V by del I, that is equals to delta R. So whatever data first you consider, del V and I, suppose you have 5 data for V and I, so you calculate R, so you have 5 R, then you take average it, and from graph we also get another one value of resistance. You see that there is a almost it will be same. If in theoretical not from practical, whatever the data you get, it's coming the resistance 3.1. in from graph when we find out the del V by del I, it's coming 1.34 3.14 3.12, not more difference in between them. Okay, very less difference, it almost equal to each other. So this is a practical purpose we use this diagram. And also if it is coming in exam that draw the Ohm's law circuit diagram, so you can also draw this circuit diagram. Clear? Okay. Now the vector form of Ohm's law. We already discussed the current density J. So vector form of Ohm's law, that means in terms of current density we get one expression that is equivalent to the scalar form of Ohm's law, that is V equals to Ri. So here we consider the magnitude of electric field is E of a conductor whose length is L, and the potential, so the potential difference across its ends is V equals to E into L. We know this. From Ohm's law we have V equals to R into I. So from here we see that equation 1 and equation 2 both are the equation of V, potential difference. So we can write EL equals to I into R, or E equals to IR by L. Now we know that R equals to rho L by A. So in place of R in equation 3, if we put this expression, we get E equals to I by L into rho L by L. So we get I by A into J, and I by A, current by area, that gives us the current density. So E equals to, because electric field is a vector quantity, current density is a vector quantity, so in a vector form E equals to J into rho, or J equals to, we can write sigma into E. 1 by rho gives us the conductivity, sigma into E. This gives us the J, vector J, that is equal to sigma of E, that gives us the vector form of Ohm's law, which is equivalent to the scalar form, because V equals to Ri, when we write this is a no vector sign is there. So on this is a scalar form of V equals to I, R into I. So vector form of V R equals to Ri, that is J equals to sigma into E, or you can write the first one, because there is a E equals to, that's why we does not consider the first this E equals to J into rho, this expression. J equals to current density, that is equals to sigma into E. This is a vector form of Ohm's law. Okay. Now the classification of materials in terms of resistivity. On depending upon the resistivity, the materials are classified in 3 groups. One is a conductor, second one is an insulator, third one is a semiconductor. As we know that the conductor are the materials which conduct the electricity through it easily. That means metals are the very good conductor. We know that the metals are the very good conductor. And for these metals, the range of the resistivity is 10 to the power minus 8 ohm meter to 10 to the power minus 6 ohm meter. It has a very low resistivity. Alloys like nichrome, tungsten has higher resistivity. The if we use copper, if we talk about the copper, aluminium, these are the metals, but it has a lowest resistivity. But the alloys for tungsten or nichrome, which is made with the copper, aluminium, okay, so this tungsten and nichromes, this kind of alloys have higher resistivity, and because of this they are used, these alloys are used in heating devices, electrical heating devices, such as electric heater, in electric bulb, electric iron, electric bulb also tungsten is there, electric bulb. But the copper and aluminium has the lowest resistivity. Lowest resistivity means resistance also low. That's why current easily flows through the conductor. Because of this property, this copper and aluminium wires, you see that, you also see that in case of power station, the copper and aluminium wires are used for transporting electric current over a large distance without much loss of energy, because they having the less amount of resistivity, that means less resistance. So it the resistance or opposites from by that conductor is very less, so the electric current flows through the conductor very easily over a large distance. But in case of alloys which is made with a copper and aluminium, mixture of copper and aluminium, tungsten, nichromes, that's one, they does not used for transmitting the or transporting the electric current, because they have large resistivity value is higher. Because of that property, they used as a heating device because they do not oxidize readily at higher temperature, and because of that property alloys are used in a heating devices, electrical heating devices, electric bulb, electric heater, electric iron. Understood? So we can say that one question also we sometimes it will come that the constituent, the coils of electric toaster or electric current made up of alloy rather than a pure metal. Why? Because the alloys, and suppose tungsten, it is a combination of copper and aluminium. So because copper and aluminium has a less resistivity, but their mixture has a higher resistivity, and they do not oxidize readily at a high temperature. And because of this, alloys are used in a heating device purposes, but their constituents, copper and aluminium, they are used for transporting electric current over a large distance because of they have lowest resistivity. Yeah. Okay. Now insulator are that substances which does not allow the electric current passing through it easily because they have high resistivity. It is more than 10 to the power 4 ohm meter. For example, the glass, paper, wood, rubber, they have very high resistivity, and their range of this resistivity 10 to the power 14 to 10 to the power 17, 10 to the power 14 to 10 to the power 17 ohm meter or 16. That's why they are used for blocking the electric current between the points. They are used blocking the electric current between 2 points. Here one mistake is there, 10 to the power 4 it is written, that is 10 to the power 14. Just you correct it, 10 to the power 14 ohm meter to 10 to the power 16 ohm meter. Okay. Another one substance is semiconductor. Semiconductor. Why it is called semiconductor? Because this type of materials sometimes not sometimes, at a particular conditions, they behaves like a conductor. That means they conduct the electricity through it. And sometimes, or at a particular condition, they behaves like an insulator. That's why this type of materials are called semiconductor. And their resistivity, so because these semiconductor lies between the conductor and the insulator, so its resistivity also in between the resistivity range of the conductor and the insulator. That's why their resistivity lies between 10 to the power minus 6 ohm meter to 10 to the power 4 ohm meter. For high resistances, those having the range kilo ohm, they are made of carbon. And the example of semiconductor, one chapter also be there, the last chapter, last chapter, semiconductor device. When we studied the semiconductor device, you can understand it very easily what do you mean by the semiconductor. Just now you just keep it in your mind that semiconductor at 0 Kelvin temperature, it behaves like an insulator. That means at 0 Kelvin temperature, it does not conduct electricity. It does not have any free electrons inside the crystal structure. They're having this crystal structure. Okay. But as we increase the temperature, electrons get the energy and breaks that covalent bond, and they move inside the material freely. Because we know that when the electrons move, it constitutes the electric current. So when the temperature is greater than 0 Kelvin, it behaves like a conductor, or it constitutes electric current. At 0 Kelvin temperature, semiconductor, that means semiconductor made of germanium, either germanium or silicon, only these two materials. But nowadays we get the compound semiconductor, that is a mixture of silicon, germanium. Okay, that's why this is called compound semiconductors. So at 0 Kelvin temperature, it behaves like an insulator. At greater than the 0 Kelvin temperature, it behaves like an conductor. Okay. Now, the whatever the resistance we used in practical purposes, that range is up to kilo ohm, high resistance kilo ohm, that they are made up of carbon. Mainly in commercial resistance are two types. Commercial resistance, those are we use in practical purposes, that is the two types. One is a wire bound resistor, another one is a carbon resistor, but maximum time we use the carbon resistor. Wire bound resistor means they are made by winding the wires of an alloy like an manganese, constantan, nichrome. That means use the alloys or an insulating base. The advantage of that wire bound resistors, they are relatively insensitive to temperature, but the large length it is required for making high resistance. Carbon resistor are made from mixture of carbon black, clay, resin, binder, which are pressed and molded into cylindrical rods by heating. The rods are enclosed in a ceramic or a plastic jacket. Why it is used? Because these are the advantages of, or what are the advantages of carbon resistors? It is the wire bound resistance has the value or price is more, very more. One piece I did not remember, but its value is more. But in case of a carbon, they are quite cheap and compact and easily available in the market. They are good enough for many purposes, and their values ranging from few ohms to several million ohms. So we can use, because the wire bound resistor have the higher value of resistance. It is a higher value. So that means we can say that its value started from kilo ohm. So it's yes, kilo ohm to onwards. So we did not get a less value of resistance, but in case of a carbon resistance, its value started from ohms to several million ohms. So it is available in the market in different ohms resistance, whatever we required for our electrical circuit. Clear? This is the carbon resistance. Now we discuss the color code of carbon resistance. So if you see the resistance, there is some bands also be drawn. Okay, and that bands or that rings have some meaning that we studied now. What is the meaning of that color? That is called color code for carbon resistor. Color code color code indicate the value of the resistance of that resistor and its percentage of accuracy, how much it will percentage. Plus minus something value is also be added. Okay, so if this is looks like this is a resistor, it looks like this way. There is a here 4 bands are there. In some resistance 6 bands also be there, but many resistors, maximum resistor having 4 bands or 4 rings, and they having some meaning, so they having some value, and we have to remember that value, and we can easily find out. If you have some resistor, you don't know what is the value of that resistor, if you use this color coding, then you can find out the value of that resistor. Okay, so how we can understand? Here I will write some colors, their first letter, and with respect to that letter it gives some number. Then is a multiplier. Then another one color there, this color, that means that is mainly the 4th band, 4th ring, that is either gold, silver, or sometimes 3 bands over there, no 4th band is, so no 4th band is there. That means tolerance means the accuracy. If gold is there, that means plus minus 5%. If silver is there, plus minus 10%. If no 4th band is there, that means plus minus 20%. So how to remember that? So what is the color? Black, brown, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, gray, white. So whatever register you have, that rings, the color of that rings lies on in between these colors. So the black, the BB is there. So B black, B brown, B blue. So B, first B is black. That number is 0. Brown, B 1. After that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 9. And with respect to that multiplier, it will be multiplied with 10 power 0, 10 to the power 1. If brown is there, 10 to the power 1. Red is there, 10 to the power 2. Orange is there, in multiplied by 10 to the power 3, like this. So how you remember this? There is a one code is there. Color, how you remember that B.B. Roy of Great Britain had very good wife. So the first letter B.B. Roy, these are the B means black, brown, red, orange, yellow, of Great Britain, G green, B blue, had very good wife, V violet, G grey, W white. If you remember this one, this rhymes, B.B. Roy of Great Britain had very good wife. You can understand which color and the number also be there, corresponding number. Now here that rings, the first one, that red color, this is called first ring or first band. Second number is called second ring or second band. Third is called third ring or third band, and fourth band. Okay, left to right, not right to left, left to right. Always you can when you find out the value, left to right. Okay, so this had some meaning. So we can find out the color coding of a carbon register in two systems. First system, on the register, a set of color rings or bands are printed. The first band, that is here the red. Okay, the first band indicate the first significant figure. That means if red is there, that means red number is 2. If brown is there, brown number is 1. Green is there, green significant figure is 5. So whatever the color is the first band, that number you first write. That is called first significant figure. The second band in this figure, that is a purple. In second band indicates second significant figure. Like this way, if violet is there, then 7, gray is there, 8. So first one is if red, 2, and second one is yellow, that means 24. Third band indicates a power of 10, that is a multiplier. So whatever the color is present, suppose the white color is present, then the first significant and second significant together multiplied by that power of 10. 10 to the power 9, if white is present, 10 to the power 9. With which the above two significant figure must be multiplied to get the resistance value in ohm. And the fourth band gives us the tolerance or the accuracy, or the possible variance is present in percentage, because in not in a every case or in the universe we cannot get the actual value, and under the value it is 100% true. There is some errors also be present. That's why here also we calculate the tolerance or the maximum possible variance in percentage that indicate fourth band. If fourth band is absent, it implies the tolerance or the accuracy or the maximum possible variation is plus minus 20%. Understood? So let's see some problems and you understand. So this is a register. The first band, this is called first significant figure. Second number, second significant figure. Third number is called decimal multiplier, 10 to the power something, whatever the color is present with respect to that number. And fourth is the tolerance. I will draw the fourth one little bit gap, but in the register it will no gap is there. For your understanding purpose, I will draw this one. So first example, see here one resistance is given, 4 bands are there and the color also be given. So first band color red, second band color also be red, third band color also be red, and the tolerance or the fourth band is silver. What we find out? Find out the resistance value. Okay, so red means from here number is 2. So first band red 2, second band red 2, third band is a multiplier into 10 to the power 2, fourth band is plus minus 10%. So resistance value is 22 into 10 to the power 2 ohm plus minus 10%. So first, second and third total gives us the value of resistance, and fourth band is the tolerance or the maximum possible variation. That's why we write it as plus minus 10%. Second number, first band is yellow, second band is violet, third band is brown, and fourth one is a gold. Find the value of resistance. So first band is yellow, yellow means 4. So 4. Violet, violet is 7. That's why 7. Third band is a multiplier. So brown, brown's number is, brown is a 1. That is multiplied by 10 to the power 1. Okay, so the resistance value we already get 47 into 10 to the power 1 ohm or 470 ohm, plus minus, fourth band is silver, sorry, gold, gold means plus minus 5, 470 in plus minus ohm plus minus 5%. This one is a homework. You find out here no band is there, no fourth band is there, that means tolerance is plus minus 20%. That is a hint. So you find out the resistance value and write in a comment box what is the value of this resistance. First band is green, second band is violet, fourth band is red. Green means 5, violet means 7, so 57, and red means 2. So 57 into 10 to the power 2 ohm, it's a value. No fourth band is there, that means 57 into 10 to the power 2, that means 5700 plus minus ohm plus minus 20%. Try to in your home. This one is a homework. Please everyone, please write in a comment box what will be the value of resistance for this third number. Clear? This is the first system. Like this way, our maximum time we use that system, first system, to find out the resistance. Second system, in second system the resistor looks like this way. Two ends are there and two ends having same color. Okay, one dot is present, another one ring is present, and another, and the white one, that long space, that is a body. So two end, ring, body and dot. So the body color gives us the first significant figure, the color of the end gives us the second significant figure, the dot gives us a multiplier because first significant, second significant, after that it will comes multiplier, and the ring, that gives us the tolerance, So for example, suppose in a given resistor the body color is brown, brown means 1, end color is red, red means 2, dot color is orange, dot means multiplier, orange means 3, that is multiplied by 10 to the power 3. So value is 12 into 10 to the power 3 ohm, and the ring is gold, gold means plus minus 5. So 12 into 10 to the power 3 ohm plus minus 5%. This is the value of the resistance. Understood? So these are the some assignments related to this current density, color coding. Try to in your home and related to Ohm's law, resistivity, R equals to rho L by A. Try to in your home. If you have any problem in this assignment, please inform me in a comment box that this number I have problem, so I will solve and upload that video also. Here I will write the answers in the bracket. So after solving, you can verify your answer. It will be same or not. Okay. So this all about the Ohm's law, and the new topic is the current density, because you know the Ohm's law, resistance, resistivity, this also already you studied in a class 10. So the new topic is current density and this color coding of the carbon resistance. Understood? Okay, so if you have any problem, Please mention in a comment box. Have a nice day. Bye.